Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm with Paul Davies, who's an estate agent in Horsham. He's one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse with regard to the Right Move boycott campaign. But specifically today, I'd like to talk to you about something you're very passionate about, which is estate agents building their own brand in their town. Talk to me.
Absolutely. So I think one of the things, 5 years ago, 1st September 2015, I sort of went live with At Home Estate and Lettings Agency in Southwater and Horsham, and we've rapidly grown market share in that time. But I think one of the key things is sort of to help build your brand, making sure that you're getting out there into the local community, making sure you pick your target market and you're spending time with those members of the community in that target market, but then also reinforcing it with any of your marketing materials, and especially social media and online sort of advertising.
Okay, so I mean, you obviously put in previous videos, you've talked about putting properties in front of people. That, I'm sorry, is not getting involved with the community. What other content are you chucking out there?
Well, there's content bits, and then there's actually chucking myself out there as well. But it's in terms of, like, you know, we're very much heavily involved in like local schools, but it's part of our actual personal.
What do you mean heavily involved with schools?
Okay, so taking a step back, so you know we have run a community chest from our sales. So like every seller can donate £150 of our fee to whichever sort of community-based organisation of their choice. So that's helping us build relationships with local voluntary-run community-based organisations. A lot of it goes to schools. So at the moment, we know that schools are really short of funding because of COVID supplies and no extra funding from the government. So we've switched all of our charitable funding to helping support those schools. But it's building relationships with them and sort of people.
So what do you stand up saying with the cheesy check? Do you or?
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, as well, is trying to sort of build and sort of develop those relationships as well. I think, you know, yes, absolutely. You want to make sure there's, you know, some PR from it, but it's also, I think, it's a bit of our personal brand. It's who we are, you know.
Okay, so we've got schools. What else do you do?
So in terms of what, you know, a lot of networking as well. So if you're starting from scratch, you need to network like crazy. You know, there's things like the B&I groups, or I actually set up my own local village networking group with a friend who has another business. And again, it's just sort of getting yourself and your presence known.
Okay, so so you have those cheesy breakfast meetings where you all have breakfast and then you've got the little slips and you pass that around. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like you're
I'm pro networking, by the way. I'm just taking the piss.
Yeah. And does
it work?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. And then, to be honest, it got to the point where I'm so busy, I can't attend those anymore. And that's kind of where you want to be. I mean, absolutely, you know,
But then aren't you then going to fall foul that it's going to drop off because you're not investing the time in there?
Very good point, but this is what I'm looking at addressing now. So my team's grown, and I need to make sure that my team sort of can basically thrive without me, sort of being a bit more in the back seat, which is quite a transition period, and then I'll be out there sort of networking again.
Okay, so we've done the schools and we've done the B&Is and your own version. What else?
So again, sort of local community events. So you know, we have like local sort of Horsham Town Festival sort of each year. So we're heavily sponsored in that. Again, making sure. Well, I think the key thing as well is we invested heavily in social media marketing from the get go.
Okay, but again, that's properties. Properties are not going to get.
Apologies. I should elaborate then. So it wasn't just properties on social media, but there's also me doing my videos with. From early days, and some of them are quite cringeworthy, to be honest. But you get better with them at them, and so it'd be like, you know, what a buyer should do when they're, you know, looking to purchase a property, things that a seller should consider, all things that a prospect client might find useful. So you're getting your face and your brand recognised as the supporter.
This is music to me. It's a huge tip for you, boys and girls. Make sure that if you're in Horsham, you Horshamise it. So top tips if you're buying a house in Horsham. Top tips to sell a house in Horsham.
Yeah.
And then throughout the video, just use the phrase "in Horsham we find," and it will be the same as if you were in Immingham or Grimsby or Scarborough. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But just that's a huge tip for you, because then it makes it specific to the town.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one, and which is something I don't think we did do if I look back. But it was, but yeah.
So you were just using your mobile phone, were you, or?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a couple of times where sort of we've had some of the social media chaps with a half decent camera. We paid for some expensive stuff to start with, and actually sort of we didn't need that.
You don't need it.
No, don't need it at all.
Okay. What other content are you chucking out on social media?
So I think it's sort of things to help buyers and sellers. Obviously the property sales. I think that's probably it at the moment, but it's certainly an area that we're looking at developing further. So, I know what our target market and our marketing strategy is.
What
for
is your
next
target
year.
market?
Families, young families between the ages of sort of 5 and 11. We know they move quite frequently. Usually they've sort of outgrown their house. So that's our core target market. So my social media strategy next year is to make sure that we're doing stuff relevant for them.
I'll give you some tips on that one. Also for you boys and girls up there, is put a geo beacon on the primary schools. So when the parents, I know we're not during COVID at the moment, so they don't take, well, it's a bit do, but when the parents take their children to the primary school, it geo targets the phone that obviously they live in that catchment area.
Okay.
So, that's a little tip for you. That's dead easy to do. Take you about half an hour to learn, and then whenever someone goes near the school, and you can say, give me everyone who goes near that school who's between the ages of 25 and 35, which is a parent of a primary school child.
Yeah.
They obviously live in the area. And then you can start hitting them with local content about the local area.
Fantastic. I might make a note of that.
Yeah, you like that one,
Excellent.
don't you?
I did. Yeah, thank you.
Plenty more where they came from.
Excellent.
Other tips for you is create content about the Horsham property market.
Yep.
Because and a huge tip for you. There you go. You didn't know you were going to learn some lessons here, did you? Is join all the Horsham Facebook groups. Where everyone goes wrong with social media is that they post it onto their company page, but the only people that will read that is people who've liked your page, which is you and your mum and your staff and your friends. So what you do is you join the Horsham Facebook groups, because the only people that join Horsham Facebook groups are from
Horsham.
And then basically as you as a person, not as a company, post, never share into a group.
Yeah.
Always physically post video content and written content about the local property market. A great tip for you. The top 30 streets in Horsham do a countdown every single week.
Yeah.
I've done some training videos on that. Top 30 streets, people in their thousands watch that.
Yeah.
And you do like a countdown each week of all the of the poshest streets in Horsham.
It's a fantastic idea, because what we did before lockdown as well, we had a newsletter that we'd deliver around to our local target market, which RH12 one and RH13, and but again about the local property market, about which streets were the most popular, which sold less. So we did that, but obviously we figured that COVID people might not want to touch things so much.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think the magic thing is just to keep chucking great content out, which isn't salesy but gives you.
Exactly. Yeah. People want you to be the professional. They don't want to be sold to. People are really turned off by that, and that's it. I think it's just supply information.
Indeed. Well, thank you for your time today, and I hope you, ladies and gentlemen, in estate agency land, have enjoyed that too. I have.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.